Hello, Shark Tits, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again. It's me, host Eric. I'm the host of Talking to Fitness People. And that's right, I'm live streaming, and I'm no longer mad. I dealt with all my shit, and I'm no longer mad. What does it mean to deal with all the shit? Well, I knew I needed to contact two doctors for Rachel today, and I contacted them both, and we got done what we needed to get done. I typed "pain in the ass Alan," as I titled him on my calendar. Hi, Rachel, darling. How nice to see you. And now I'm feeling mostly spent. I'll probably go to bed pretty soon, maybe like within an hour. But I also felt this need to have an update on things. And my trilogy calls Eric's mad, Eric's still mad, Eric's no longer mad. It's a trilogy. Some people will say the second one is the best. The third one hasn't even happened yet. It's just happening right now. But people were already saying the second one was the best. Just like Empire Strikes Back, Godfather 2, and what was the other one we were saying? It was like that. Well, Taken 2, of course. I don't know if anybody out there on the internet has noted the following, but Liam Neeson has a new film out, everybody. Liam Neeson has a new film out called Blacklight. What is wrong with Liam Neeson's new film? No, I'm not talking about Biden at all. I'm not talking politics right now. I'm no longer mad, I said. That means it's a good thing. We're going to keep me not mad, okay? So, what is wrong, Broccoli Todd, with Liam Neeson's new film? Blacklight, it's called. What's wrong with it is that it's not Taken 5. That's what's wrong with it. And that's what's wrong with you, Broccoli Todd. You didn't have the right answer to that question. You are concerned about Biden's dementia. I'm concerned about Liam Neeson's career. Which one of us is caring about the right thing? Me. Okay? You need to worry about Liam Neeson more and Joe Biden less. Have you ever seen Liam Neeson jump over a fence? Boy, you talk about excitement. Liam Neeson jumping over a fence is one of the most exciting things in history. Google it or YouTube it, Liam Neeson jump cuts. Or taken jump cuts or something. You'll see as well as I that, in fact, Liam Neeson can really jump over a fence. What he seems extremely bad at is preventing his loved ones from being taken. He never learns a goddamn thing, apparently. They just keep getting taken over and over again. Why do people keep taking his family? Nobody knows. It's a mystery. Hi, Dad. Yeah, it's me, your daughter. I want to go on another trip to Europe, okay? Sure, go right ahead. We learned nothing the last time. Oh, shit, Dad. What? I'm being taken again. Okay, don't worry. I'll come rescue you again. Oh, that was close. Hello, Dad. It's me, your daughter again. I want to go to on another trip. This time to Asia. Okay, good idea. I'll go by myself. Okay, good idea. Oh shit, Dad, I got taken again. Oh no, I can't believe I didn't anticipate this again. In the fourth movie, she's like 35. She's still calling her dad to say, Dad, I'm going on a trip to Belize by myself. He, once again, is like, oh, that should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. Or he tries to warn her, but she's stubborn again, you know. He says, no, don't do it. And she's like, Dad, it's going to be fine. And then, oh, God, she was taken again. I want that to be like Taken 10, where she's like 60 years old and they're still taking her. She's still a virgin. And he still just barely keeps saving her from being violated in the nick of time. You know?
That's a lot of movies to get there.
Or perhaps by Taken 10, the tables have been turned. And now, every time his daughter tries to go out on a date, or she wants to, he keeps claiming she's been taken.
Oh no.
And, you know, like, there's like octogenarian Liam Neeson jumping up from a table to punch her date in the face. You've been taken again. And she's like, no, Dad, he's not taking me. I agree with Karma's Pimp. They need a sequel called Not Taken This Time. Where she's all old and she's at the train station. And they show like the sex trafficker people go over her and go, move along. Yeah, let's go Rams, right? Rams Bengals. You know who called that shit was Taylor, that guy I typed yesterday. He called both those games. He's like, it's going to be Bengals Rams. He had no doubt about it. He was right. Not very many people were picking the Bengals, but he picked the Bengals. Taken 10, the chaperone.
The chaperone.
Or, you know, Taken 11, now we take you. And then Liam Neeson and his daughter go and they take some people from someplace else. That's Taken 11. Hey, let's be the takers this time. Did they figure it out? What? No, nobody figured anything out. Rachel was right the whole time. There's nothing to figure out at this point. We just have to... We'll talk to the only doctor who's worth talking to. What we figured out, what I figured out, was exactly how to deal with all these communications. These two communications, not all these. I had two communications to do today. I needed to talk to Rachel's actual doctor, Dr. Ingram, and then I needed to talk to Rachel's neurologist, quote unquote, and tell him we're not coming in tomorrow. So I did it the smart way, which is, that's why I had to wait all day, right? Like, I can't send that phone message, I can't make that phone message, I can't write that thing until I'm done being mad and or frustrated and resolved to just dealing with it in the best possible way, which meant I was not really ready to until after I had a good dinner. We'd watched the Rams game. We watched the exciting game before that too. We got to see the Bengals come back and defeat the Chiefs, and then we got to watch the Rams win that game, and it was nice time spent with my dad. I didn't fuck up the tri-tips, thank God, that badly. My dad wasn't impressed though. You know, He will not tell me any lies about my meat. You know? this close to being overdone. It was kind of like overdone, but it just had kind of like a thick bark that was not very good. You couldn't really eat the bark of it, but the inside was still juicy. I pulled it off just in time. I pulled it off 15 minutes earlier than I expected to because I could smell it. I could tell it was starting to overcook.
I thought it was delicious.
Thanks, Rachel. I appreciate your support. And I'd like to say that, in general, Rachel and I are having a very pleasant day-to-day together and being able to enjoy some football and stuff. And just having a kind of a regular day was very emotionally restorative for me. Makes me feel better and calmer and everything. And that's a good thing. Of course, leave it to spoiled, selfish Eric. Rachel's the one who's experiencing actual physical symptoms that persist and stuff. But I'm worried about me and whether or not I feel fussy. So, I feel fussy when I don't feel like Rachel's happy, stable, safe, whatever. And when I feel like she's those things, then I feel happy, stable, safe. What do I like watching about football? It's authentically exciting or boring on its own. I should share pics of them. I could share a pic of Dr. Ingram. I'm sure there's a picture of him, I think, on his website or something, probably. It's not spelled like that. It's just Ingran. And he's a psychiatrist on Wilshire Boulevard, so it should be easy enough to find him if you want to Google him. And he's A++, grade E bear. But I still had to send him a carefully worded message tonight, which put him in a beautiful bind. You see, I've not been happy with the emergency room visit, and I was not happy with the neurologist, and he was the source of both of those things. He said, go to the emergency room, when we had an emergency. We did, they did nothing. He said, no, go see this neurologist. We did, we were unhappy with him. And so I sent him a message tonight basically saying, okay, I'm tired of you doctors and your bullshit, but saying it in a somewhat nicer way than that. Here's the correct diagnosis. Rachel was right the whole time. And also, we don't trust any doctors except for you, so don't tell us to go to any more doctors. You're the only doctor who we trust and we like, and we don't want to go to any other doctors. So, now he's in a bit of a troublesome spot, right? Because he's the one who told us to go to those two places, and they both fucking utterly failed. And so now it's like he's in a position where I'm talking shit about his field, but I'm saying you're the only good one, and we trust you, and we don't want you to refer us to anybody else. And so what's he gonna say? It's like it puts him in a really tricky FETI kind of position. And I'm pretty sure an INTP, he's gonna just be like, fuck, because why? SE polar, I'm hitting him right in his polar. You said to do this, I did it, and it failed. What's he gonna say? He's a psychiatrist, but I'm a typologist, okay? He's got no chance. Typology is much more useful in that regard than psychiatry, right? In terms of understanding the person you're dealing with and how to move things communicatively, typology is way more useful than other psychology or psychiatry things. All those other things try to universalize it. Like, well, people like to bam, bam, bam. Well, not necessarily. You got to You got to aim. You got to customize your meow 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 to the person, right? Customize your meow 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 is a good a good title for something. How's his facial hair? I don't think he has any facial hair, does he? Rachel, does Dr. Ingram have facial hair?
No.
No, he doesn't have any facial hair. He's facial hairless. Well, I mean, he might have a little 5 o'clock shadow or something. Gosh, Boba Fett, why are you so... why are you so meow about it? You know, it's like the core message that I had to get across on that thing was buried in the middle paragraph, so it's sort of meow and meow or whatever. But is that I know you doctors are very possessive of this word diagnosis, but here's the correct diagnosis. In other words, reminding him that diagnosing somebody is not a professional right exclusive to doctors. It's a process that is done to somebody regardless of who does it. You know, it's like Rachel is the one who diagnosed herself correctly, earliest, first, and was correct the whole time. And nobody wanted to listen to her, including me, really. Does he have a chin cleft? Rachel, can you answer this? I have no idea.
Who?
Dr. Ingram.
No.
He does not, according to Rachel. No chin cleft. So, why don't you Google him and look at a picture of him?
Glasses.
He does have glasses. He's 4 eyes, you might say. He's your classic 4 eyes nerd type. I'm an auntie. Kind of like that, except he's much nicer. He's much more personable. Now describe his eyes. They're kind of like slanty almondy like mine, I'd say. They're Alpha Quadra E.
Yeah.
Alpha Quadra E eyes. He's got Alpha Quadra eyes.
And socionics, your benefit relations.
Who? He benefits you?
I benefit him.
Or you benefit him. And in fact, we do benefit him. Because we're not just hitting him, and I'm not just hitting him in his SE, I'm also hitting him in his FE fourth. Which is because while bypassing his TI-NI. So in other words, I'm appealing to his FE fourth, but not in a way that seems like I'm glad-handing him or anything. In fact, I'm kind of scolding him. So that's a complicated FE equation. It's too complicated for FE fourth to really calculate. So I got him there, and then I got him on the SE thing. So he's just going to capitulate on this point, you know. I mean, socionics doesn't do anything of the sort. They just describe intertype relations are described by socionics and as a mechanical reality, and they aren't usually described by other people as such, right? So it's not like socionics has a particular way of doing it. It's just saying it's just discussing how like, for example, the reason I'm the benefactor to ENFJ is because I've got their tool function as my fifth, and I've got their dominant function as my third, which means basically I'm selfish about what they do and I ignore what they use, which makes me only function with them effectively when I'm benefiting them. So that would be the mechanical explanation for it from Eric, okay? They might have a somewhat different mechanical explanation for it. But what my point is that intertype relations exist independently of socionics, and socionics makes a pretty good accounting of it overall. Socionics makes a pretty good accounting of it overall by naming them with their names that they use, except the problem is that what I think socionics gets wrong is it fails to distinguish between how the judging types and the... Like, in any given intertype relationship, you've got two judgers, two perceivers, or one of each, right? In instances where you've got... And socionics doesn't differentiate between those things. So it's my belief that duality works with judgers, but not with perceivers. And the reason being, the perception functions are on different metaphysical, physical things, whereas the judging functions are on the same. So in other words, if I'm FE, I'm also TI, they're both metaphysical. If I'm FI, I'm also TE, they're both physical. But if I'm NE, then I'm also SI, it's split. And if I'm SI, then I'm also NE, it's split. So that's why I think socionics gets it right in general for judgers, but wrong for perceivers in some spots because of that reality. Yeah, Alpha Quadra has sleepy eyes. Beta Quadra has what do you call moon puddle eyes. Do you think that's a good name for Beta Quadra eyes? Moon puddle eyes?
Moon puddle eyes.
Yeah. Dr. Sammy Moshi MD, my ass. Yeah. I wish that you were you. How's your favorite patient doing? That's how I know. There's zero chance that's actually Dr. Sammy Moshi MD. Because there's zero chance he would refer to Rachel as his favorite patient. He doesn't care.
He's my advisor.
Is your supervisor type?
Yeah.
Yeah, ENTJs are supervisor types by INFJs. If you really are Dr. Moshi, you need to watch my earlier life from when I was still mad at you. I don't want to get mad at you all over again. I'm in a good mood now. I'm no longer mad. So don't show up here with your ENTJ nonsense and make me mad all over again. That would be fantastic if you actually did show up here. I'd be so impressed. I'd be like, hey, okay, you know what? You win. Now all you gotta do is super chat me $400. You were disappointed with my poor analysis. My ass. Dr. Samuel Moshi. Dr. Sammy Moshi. Moon puddle eyes. There's no way in hell an ENTJ neurologist would watch my live stream. Zero chance in hell. Wow, matches, classic. Yeah, I was using some matches here today. Sometimes I feel like using them. These are from Alfonsi's. Alfonsi's Italian restaurant in North Hollywood. I wonder if it still exists. I got this big box of old matchbooks from a yard sale Probably most of these restaurants don't exist anymore. Lady Lou says, "Hi everyone, hope everyone is well. Question for DWFP. I have a friend who self-types as ENFJ, but she has unbelievable recalling vivid details of conversations, the setting, the date, etc. Is that right?" No, she's totally wrong about her own type. Probably an ESFJ. Which is not a terrible mistyping if you're just typing yourself on type descriptions for an ENFJ, because, you know, ESFJs who aren't huge homebodies and like mothers and stuff may identify with their sort of role at work. Like my ex ESFJ wife was an administrator in various work capacities, and I actually, just based on type descriptions, before I learned anything about cognitive functions, had her typed as an ENFJ, not understanding really how to type at all or anything. This is, like I said, before I even encountered cognitive functions. So, how does the supervisor thing go? The supervisor thing goes, basically, you don't fight back when your supervisor type criticizes you or says something. You are successfully critiqued. And you probably don't feel particularly ballsy about critiquing them. Like, the only reason I was able to get my general practitioner doctor to prescribe Adderall for me, to the best of my knowledge, is because, as far as I can tell, it's because I'm an ENTP and he's an ISTP. And so I'm his supervisor type. Dr. Moshi, MD, I'm pretty sure, whoever you are, you're not in a mansion right now. Okay? So it's like, what makes you the supervisor is, if I've got your dominant function as my tool function, and my dominant function is your polar, then I'm your supervisor. So INFJ, that would mean if your dominant is FE, and your tool function, and your polar function is NI, then I'm your supervisor. So INFJs supervise ESFJs. That means ESFJs are always going to feel kind of outmatched by INFJs. They're never going to feel like they're going to win. Good for you, Dr. Moshi. Congratulations. And apparently you spend your time trolling, talking with famous people too. That's impressive. You are a busy, busy man, Dr. Moshi. Yeah. Your supervisor is ESFP, Alec. Earlier, Rachel and I typed pain in the ass Alan, and he was an ENFJ who thought he was an INFJ. But it was obvious he was an ENFJ because SI was so shite. One thing you can tell about the ENFJs and ENTJs is, but especially ENFJs, is when you have a list of things that exceeds 3, they can't remember them. Mm-hmm. They always ask you to repeat it if it's 4 things. Like, do you know first, decide first, act first, or react first? ENFJ every time will need it repeated because it's 4 things. They'll remember 3 of them and they'll need the 4th one repeated. No, he wasn't even a record. He was a not even a record because he don't even use Google products. What was interesting is I could see him getting tense partway through it. Like, he started, and I asked him, I'm like, that was when I took the opportunity to say, how are you feeling emotionally right now? And he said, weirdly stressed out, kind of. I'm not sure why. But I know why. It was because he could tell he had enough NI to determine that based on how my questions and his answers were going, he wasn't going to get the type that he expected, which was INFJ. I use Whereby, which I used to use until Google made things so convenient by integrating so easily with Calendar, right? So then I decided to use Google Meet. It just has this huge advantage, right, over everything else by integrating with all of my other stuff. Which I guess is what people don't like sometimes. They don't like the way that Google exercises its market power like that. But I think it's very convenient. I have a nice supervisor. I feel fortunate to have INFP as a supervisor. INFPs aren't too mean, you know. But I think everybody feels that way with their supervisee. You kind of feel like, oh, you. Like poor Chloe, right? She's my supervisee, and her mom always wants me to work with her, and I keep telling her mom, look, you're barking up barking up the impossible tree. By which I mean, her mom wants me to make her daughter's any polar go away. Well, I can't do that. It's not possible. And then her mom says, no, thank you. Her mom says, oh, you just don't have good chemistry. No, woman, listen to what I'm saying. I like my supervisor types. Alec, T, and Dulles, they're nice supervisors. They make me feel safe, ENTJ supervisor would be ISTJ. That's funny. It's funny to think of ISTJ supervising ENTJ, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had to think about it for a bit, Gib. I had to do the mental math or whatever it is. ENTJs are just caught up in their TESE shit. It's like if you've got SE third slot, then doing shit, making shit happen, seems like the end all be all of life. Which is why Dr. Sam Moshi was like, just take me with you. You're going to this lab right now. Get in the car, drive up, and I was just sort of swept up in the whole thing. I wasn't. Am I ignoring or something? I don't know why I wasn't on my toes for that. I wasn't expecting the need to be or something, and I just got all swept up in it. You wish you could escape from your supervisor? Who's your supervisor, Alec? Let me see. ESFPs, oh right. Well, they're making sure you actually do shit. You're not even in the right quadrant, buddy. You're not an alpha. You're like gamma or delta. Whatever that is. One of those two. ENTJs. I never remember the other two quadrants besides alpha and beta. I remember which one's which. Which one's delta and which one's, Yeah, Evelyn, consider yourself lucky. Okay, you can be the superior alpha male. That's fine. I don't care about that. I'm beta male to the end, motherfucker. Yeah. Beta male and proud. I'm alpha quadra, but I'm beta male. So gamma's opposite alpha, that's a useful rule of thumb. Meaning gamma shares is the SFP's NTJs. And delta's opposite beta. Okay. So gamma's opposite alpha means ISFPs, ESFPs, INTJs, and ENTJs are gamma quadra. You gamma quadra people, not you, but ENTJs. They're my new shit on them type. You know how periodically I go through a little phase where I shit on a certain type? For a long time it was ESFPs, then I liked Amy, so I had to pick something else. I picked on ENFPs for a while, but I liked some ENFPs, so now I'm picking on ENTJs, because they don't care anymore. Oh yeah, it's the worst quadrant. For sure. For sure, Evelyn. Definitely. It's the worst quadrant. It's either gamma or delta. One of those two is the worst quadrant. Okay? The best quadrants are alpha and beta quadrant. Those are the things we know. Those are the things we know for sure. Just as a general quality of good and bad. Alpha and beta quadrants are good, and delta and gamma quadrants are bad. You're glad that the anger has vacated the premises? Yeah, no more spirit of anger in me right now. I have a spirit of satisfaction and kind of peace, because I got a couple of things necessary that I needed to get done today done. I had good time spent with my dad and Rachel, and my dad actually talked to Rachel when I was out of the room for once, which was crazy to hear. Normally, my dad just doesn't even talk to her for some reason. It's like he's her conflictor.
Mm-hmm.
They got nothing in common function wise. They share no functions, so it makes sense that my dad wouldn't get how to. He just wouldn't get her, Especially if you're NI-polar and you're not really good at getting things in general. Well, it's not like they chose the site after COVID, Jack Torrance. The sites are determined like 20 years in advance. So, what is it like when types interact with a type with their mirrored function order, but with the extroversion and introversion of the functions being opposite? Like INFP, ENFJ. Let's see. So that would be you're right, and then so that would be the same as like me and INTJ. I think there's good common ground there, but
That's the contrarian distinguisher type.
contrarian.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I think it's probably different for judgers than for perceivers, though. So I suspect there's less common ground between judgers of that type than between perceivers of that type. Because the judgers will be on the opposite side of the same side all the time. Whereas the perceivers won't. So like FE and FI, when I'm ignoring NI, I'm incorporating it in a more active way than somebody who's ignoring, say, FI or FE. And the reason is because any is a metaphysical action function that's reliant on a metaphysical knowledge function as its valid, as sort of currency, you know? Whereas the relationship between the interface and knowledge function is conflicting. I mean, the interface and, yeah, the interface and deliberation function is conflicting. So it's like knowledge and action go together, but interface and deliberation don't go together. Interface goes with knowledge. So well, she's taking the vitamin B, and the issue is not fixed. Dr. Moshi, will you stop? Will you stop trolling about Rachel's health and my anger about the doctors? That's very inappropriate of you. I'm deeply offended. My feelings are hurt. And why don't I see Ruben? Oh, there he is. Hi, Ruben. You like ENTJs a lot? Well, the thing is, Evelyn, hey, I'm trying to generalize from my most recent experience, okay? I want you to support me in my recency and locality bias. You're not being supportive enough. That's your problem right now. You're being too rational. I have a recent experience with an ENTJ who pissed me off. Therefore, ENTJs suck. Okay? Did you forget about how that works? Therapy in 2 minutes. That's a quick therapy session. I wish I could type people in just 2 minutes. If I got paid the same, that'd be a really good rate of pay. Oh, you mean it starts in 2 minutes? My bad. You're down with it being the worst quadra of the two. I would say Rachel is not particularly improving in the physical symptoms in any dramatic sense right now. Is that correct?
Correct.
So she's still experiencing, significant, notable deficits in fine motor skills and some less dramatic, perhaps, deficits in gross motor. Like, I think she still feels a little wobbly walking, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a little bit less noticeable to a third-party observer than the fine motor stuff, maybe. So I don't know what Rachel thinks is more significant. I guess I haven't asked her. Anyway, the bottom line is the diagnosis that Rachel concluded a long time ago is, I have now concluded, is correct as well. And that's that she's got neuropathy due to a toxic drug interaction, and that the effects of it are semi-permanent / permanent. I suspect that they will gradually improve over the course of the next year or so, hopefully. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I hope that's the case.
I'm not wishful thinking too, we'll see.
We'll see. And
I've come to acceptance.
And Rachel's been spending really the last month coming to terms with this reality, and in my own way I have too. Although I was fighting against it, I was also doing externally fighting against it, doing internal prep for the reality that might be the case. The thing is, it actually impacts us / me very little. Like, as long as Rachel's happy and we're chilling and everything, then nothing's really any different. Because what do we really do? It's like I sit here, I live stream, she's on her phone over there, and we're all still able to do all that kind of stuff. We're not super she's not super reliant on either fine or gross motor for doing a lot of things she does in life. Not nearly as reliant on, say, um, fine motor skills than I am. It would be a much more. I would be much more devastated if I experienced fine motor deficits than I think she is, because I play the guitar and also I type with my fingers a lot. Things like emails and stuff, and uh, she uses her phone for most things anyway, which means she's got much more access to voice to text, or at least more natural access to voice to text, I guess, than using a PC. I'm gonna get another water. Would you like one, Rachel?
Sure.
The thing is, in fact, I'll pull it up here. Okay, so neuropathy is damage or dysfunction of one or more nerves. It typically results in numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, and pain in the affected areas. Neuropathies frequently start in your hands and feet, but can affect other parts of your body as well. Neuropathy results when nerve cells called neurons are damaged or destroyed. This disrupts the way neurons communicate with each other and with the brain. Neuropathy can affect one nerve or nerve type, a combination of nerves in a limited area, or many peripheral nerves throughout the body. What types of peripheral nerves are there, and what do they do? There are sensory nerves, motor nerves, autonomic nerves. And the thing is, if you're experiencing damage that's impacting your autonomic nerves, that's when they say go to the hospital, because of course that's responsible for things like breathing, which is pretty important, but also incontinence and stuff like that, which is why we ended up going to the hospital that one day. How common is neuropathy? It's actually very common. I estimated 25 to 30% of Americans will be affected by it. The condition affects people of all ages. However, older people are at increased risk. About 8% of adults over age 65 report some degree of neuropathy. It's almost always with diabetes, people who get chemotherapy, or people who have HIV. But Rachel's not any of those things, and some other causes of neuropathy are alcoholism or exposure to toxins and some medications like chemotherapy. In her case, this is clearly a toxic drug interaction of a mix of a variety of different possible drugs, and it's not clear exactly what it is, but she's essentially had some kind of traumatic brain injury due to medications and poisons, right? It might be the case that it says here, exposure to toxic substances such as heavy metals, including lead and mercury, and industrial chemicals, especially solvents, can also affect nerve function. And as Peter Natichi indicated the other day, with DMT, depending on the kind of solvent they use to make it, some of them pass the blood-brain barrier. These symptoms listed here, common signs and symptoms of neuropathy include, these are all things exactly that go with Rachel's. She's had exactly this: tingling, numbness, especially hands and feet, can spread to arms and legs. It has for her. muscle weakness, difficulty walking and moving your arms and legs. She hasn't had the twitching really, although I noticed the other day when we were in bed that her hands are actually occasionally she had a little twitch in them. I noticed when she was like holding my hand or something. Although I'm not actually sure if it was twitches or was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's had some of these, but not some of the worst ones. She's not fallen, so that's good. But she does feel like she's sometimes wearing like socks or gloves when she's not being able to feel things in her hands and feet, things like that. So the thing is, how is neuropathy diagnosed? First, your doctor will conduct a thorough history and physical exam. Your doctor will review your symptoms and ask questions, including your current and past medications, exposure to toxic substances. Okay. Well, he did that, but he didn't listen to us enough. The key thing here being the toxic substances, but she's tested fine in all of her MIAs, but she hasn't had a full tox screen done, right? She just had the basic tox screen done. If she'd had a full tox screen done, it might still show remnants of the toxicity, but probably that toxicity is gone, leaving just the damage, and so it wouldn't be useful at this point anyway. There's no reason to be really running any other tests because we know that we basically know what it is, we know what it is. So I think that there's zero chance that it's anything else. And I hate the fact that Rachel diagnosed it early on and that none of the doctors diagnosed it, right? Like, shouldn't they be the one who diagnosed this shit? Not Rachel? Here. Yeah, I saw Guillain-Barré. But see, here, yeah, I know that's Guillain-Barré. But the thing is, the reason we know almost for sure that it's not Guillain-Barré and that it's not B12 or something, which is ridiculous, is that it happened acutely after she smoked a bunch of DMT. So, I mean, we have these really clear antecedents. Like, I clearly remember the day after we went to that party, her coming out here, blowing out a big hit, walking outside, puking, going around cleaning it up, going and lying down, and she hasn't been the same since. So it's like, that's, to me, that's pretty powerful SI evidence, right? It's like, that's the SI particulars that are determinant here. And everybody wants to ignore it because they're the doctor, right? And so they want to do their thing. They don't want the patients coming in and telling them what the diagnosis is. And Rachel's not someone who pukes often. I don't remember ever seeing her puke before that or at any time. Ever, really. Well, they don't understand DMT well, which is why they should ask me about it. But the thing is, probably it's like what Peter Dentici said. It probably isn't actually the DMT. It's probably a solvent that they use that crosses the blood-brain barrier because it was dark web DMT. Who knows how the fuck they make it? Who knows? And it was probably that solvent having some kind of toxic drug interaction with the variety of other drugs that she was on at the time. And let's be honest, it was a variety of them, right? Yes, I brought it up. And DMT, he looked confused for a second, like typed something into the computer and then proceeded on to his next question. And it could be the DMT, it could be a solvent, it could be a combination of things. She was also on, I think, like none of them know about it. They don't know about DMT. It's not just that one, right? None of them know about it. So, you know, I mean, I would love, this is what I would love, for me to turn out to be totally wrong, and it turn out to be a side effect of the vaccine. That would be better. Then I would just...
wasn't feeling well after the second one. I really did not like the effects on me.
Yeah, Rachel had a rough go of the second shot of the Moderna vaccine. I had kind of a rough go to it as well, but yeah, CJ O'Connell, I think you're kind of right on both accounts there when you say they think you're a hypochondriac with internet access, but really they just hate that you can do their job for them. Well, I mean, at least Dr. Ingram and I had this exact conversation in our first meeting, in which he said, well, you know, if you're so smart, what do you need me for? And I said, because you can prescribe drugs and I can't. And he was just kind of like, oh. So at least we've had that conversation, and so I don't have to have this battle with him, right? I had it in the very first time we met. I had this big battle with him. It wasn't really a battle. It was me insisting that my questions be answered, you know, and him actually answering them because he's an INTP instead of a freaking idiot, you know. Well, I mean, this is the thing, Evelyn. What basically happened was exactly what was predicted regarding the serotonin, which is that the duration of the serotonin excess, which I think was also there, would last 3 weeks due to the half-life of the SSRI, which it did. And then for the last week or so, she was getting sort of decline in mental health until we reintroduced the Prozac yesterday, which, just as before, had the same thing happen as before, which was when she was taking just the two Klonopin and olanzapine, it made her not manic, but depressed. When we actually tried removing the olanzapine for a couple of days, and she started getting kind of manicky. And then we put the olanzapine back in, and she started getting depressed. And then we put the Prozac back in, and all of a sudden, boom, perfectly sane again, right? So we've tested this combination of 3 drugs now on a couple of occasions very clearly, right? And it's worked the same way in both times to clear up her mental health issues. And I've been verifying on a couple of different occasions today, yesterday, that she's not experiencing any worsened symptoms from the neuropathy from the reintroduction of the SSRI. So that means then that the symptoms persisted beyond the excess of serotonin and are not impacted by the reintroduction of the SSRI. It means they're semi-permanent or permanent, as she indicated, unfortunately. Now, like Evelyn said, nerves repair themselves over time, and I find that encouraging for her to say, and I think Rachel and I are both hopeful that as we are patient, she'll gradually, little bit by little bit, regain functionality that she's lost. And so, you know, it's the best we can hope for. And as long as we're both in good mental health and mental spirits and stuff, it's not really very impactful to our actual day-to-day lives at all. It certainly doesn't need to impact our relationship at all, and it's the other reality, which is Rachel's an incredible trooper about things. She's dealt with horrible shit for so many years. I guess she must be. She must be skilled at dealing with it. Dr. Sam Moshi, MD, don't be an asshole. I've seen colors I've never seen before. Yet today I saw this color blue. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Woo! You think green, yellow, and red are cool? You gotta check out blue. So, and of course, one big disaster averted yesterday was very important. Rachel did not lose her phone.
Yeah.
For a moment, it looked like she might have lost it. But fortunately, we live here in Arcadia, where it's like I knew that I'm surprised that somebody even put it into the security. I expected it to just be sitting in exactly the same place. Around here, nobody's gonna take anything like that. It just doesn't work like that. It's it just isn't that kind of hood. But I was good for that guy for giving it security and turning it in so that Rachel could just go to the lost and found and pick it up easy enough, you know. So the thing is, I think we're going to have a serious conversation with the doctor on Friday about how we can successfully get Rachel to party still if she wants to without putting her at risk for neuropathy, right? We'll stay away from the DMT, obviously. That's not something we'll repeat.
And
but
that's like fine, with me because it was a fun experience, but I did it, and that's it. I don't feel a gravitation towards it, and I don't care if you can't do it without me.
Well, I mean, the point is, Dr. Sam Mochi, MD, are the drugs worth it? Obviously, if we could go back in history and not smoke that particular DMT, then we would not do so. Because
it's a combination of things.
It's
you did whippets that day.
Yeah, she was on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is, we didn't really have a reason to believe going into any of this that we were walking into a toxic drug interaction, but we were. And now I need to have a serious conversation with the doctor on Friday. Because Rachel, look, the thing is, you need to remember what happened the time that I told her maybe she should take it easy on the whippets. She just looked at me and said,
"Yeah.
Eat, sleep, rave, repeat."
True.
She's not. I'm not the one who's saying.
No.
She must party. She likes to party.
Yeah, I do.
Alright? So, it's like, right now, she and I are both on basically a weed-only diet for the moment. I'll be getting my Adderall again in a couple of days, hopefully tomorrow. And so, on Friday, we need to talk to the doctor and say, okay, which drugs can we successfully mix here? Let's say Rachel and I are planning to take mushrooms. Should she lay off Prozac for a few days beforehand or something? Or it's like we need specific, honest, real world instructions from the doctor about this shit without bullshit, Because, Rachel wants to party. She doesn't want to be told no, and I'm not one to tell other people what to do with themselves, Well, that's what I mean by party is do drugs. I don't really mean party. It's not like we're going to parties.
Like, if it, and I'll take it seriously, whatever the doctor says, if he, like, really says, but, like, the truth of the matter is that, like, say in a couple months, like, or whatever, and you bring out a box of Whippets, like, I'm gonna wanna, like, do it.
I mean, that's the first thing you said on Friday after the doctor's visit to the neurologist was, that just makes me want to get Whippets. Because the doctor was you have to stop doing nitrous oxide because of its impact on your B12 vitamins. It's like, okay, shut the fuck up. Well, you know what I got for my checking shoulder issues? My neck and shoulder issues?
Yes.
I got this bad boy, okay?
Yeah.
There's a little something called the World Champion of Majesty. And you're going to see it in a second, okay? You're going to see it in action in a second. That's pretty good stuff, let me tell you. Alcohol party is SE. Rachel and I have slightly different taste in drugs, She's more of a Whippet enthusiast than I am. I was always more of a DMT enthusiast than she was.
Yeah.
Well, I know these things are usually gotten as vibrators, but I actually got this for my shoulder, but who knows? Let me see which tip is appropriate for Rachel's vagina. Maybe it's this one.
Wow, I mean...
Do you think maybe that's why they put this in there?
Yeah.
I think so. Let's see. Put it on low setting, Rachel. Imagine this is a woman's special button.
That would definitely make it
Ah! We'll have to try that out, Rachel. Okay?
Okay.
Take that inside with us and see how that works. This one is clearly made for sex purposes. Why else would it be shaped like this? But some of them are clearly made for actual back purposes. Like this one, probably. This one, well, I don't know. Maybe you could use this for sex purposes too. I'm not sure.
I think it could possibly.
That's a good neck getter. That's pretty powerful. Ugh. Well, you know where I bought this, speaking of being ultra masculine, I bought this I got sold on this from a TV commercial. Lipids cause the interaction of neurotransmitters. It also uses the same detox pathway. Pretty clear interaction. Okay, so you know the actual why of it. Yeah, well, I was watching a sporting event and I saw a TV commercial for this. It's called the High Impact, but with a Y, you see. And it's cordless. It's cordless. It's a cordless muscle massager. Well, you know, if whippets are going to do Rachel harm, then obviously we're going to try not to do them as much as possible. But I don't doubt there's going to come a day where Rachel's like, you know what I want? And I'll be like, you want whippets, huh? She's going to be like, yeah, I do. And I say, well, looks like we're going to go get whippets. You know, what am I going to say? And I'm like, I don't want them. I'm not as enthused. They always make me sleepy. Like, I'll do my share of them, or most of my share of them, and then I just want to go take a nap.
I'm not even sure if they actually do anything to me, I guess, except physically.
Well, like I told you, Rachel, the problem is you breathe between doing them. You can't breathe in between.
It's so hard for me.
Or you got those baby lungs.
Yeah.
No, Steph Doer, I'm almost done. I'm almost done, and then I'm going to go to bed. I'm not mad anymore. I'm done being mad. I'm just right. You know? I called you secretary. Don't you worry about it, mister. And I phrased the message in such a way that us not coming in was on you. This was all, you know, our 10 a.m. was predicated on the doctors successfully having gotten us. Yeah. It's the same stuff. It's just a more expensive way of doing it, Karma Stuff. A more expensive and more delicious way of doing it, I might add. Because when you do the whippets from the whipped cream cans, you get a delicious burst of whipped cream in your mouth at the end. So that's a bonus, but it's an expensive way to get whippets. Yes, Andre Z, I'm going to retract from my earlier statement that everyone should suck it.
Thanks for you.
I'm going to step back from that. Not everyone should suck it, okay? So if you're one of the people who was included in my everyone but a couple of people that I said earlier should just suck it, I'm sorry. I retract that. You should not just suck it. Unless you're... Yeah, everybody unsuck it, okay? Unsuck it right now. Earlier, my message was, everyone needs to suck my Walgreens. But now, I'm encouraging you to just fondle my CVS. I'm going to fondle CVS tomorrow if they don't have my drugs. I'm going to fondle them good, let me tell you. I'm going to go down there and fondle their tenders most roughly if they don't have my drugs. Spit forcefully. Yes, everybody spit. Spit out whatever it is you have in your mouth. Stop sucking. Patooey is right. Yeah. Patooey is the word. If you weren't lazy, you'd make a fake account called CVS and just type, just go to Walgreens. Make a fake account called CVS and go from live stream to live stream, just saying everybody to go to Walgreens. Just to sabotage CVS for their awfulness. If you guys talking about concentrate, I would generally avoid concentrate. I originally I don't hardly ever smoke it. No, I'm not yelling at people tonight. I'm feeling soft. I'm feeling soft, I'm feeling mushy. You don't need concentrates because the thing is with THC, if you start smoking weed with concentrate, it just means that now you just have to smoke weed with concentrate to get the same not high. You know, what's the point of that? It's not like weed really gets us high. You talk about you're not sure what whippets do. What do you think weed does? I mean, it doesn't do much, right?
No.
It's like, no, I don't think there's going to be any fight. I expect to get a text sometime around noonish or so saying we've got your prescription ready. If I don't, then maybe I'll wait until like 2 p.m. Eventually I'll say, okay, I gotta get down there and figure this fucking thing out. And then, you know, because I should get a text one way or the other tomorrow. Either a text saying it's ready or a text saying we have to order it again. One of the two. If I get neither text, then I have to go down there and I gotta put on my angry eyes like Mr. Potato Head, and I gotta put on my hands on hips or my arms folded, one of the two. Just one of my two outfits that I could put on. Well, I have been on my period for a while. My period is all the time that I'm not on Adderall.
Speaking of, I should be getting my period soon.
Oh, we should have sexual intercourse tonight then. We can try out our new massager on your vagina. Eric, that's too massagey, you're gonna say. I said, well, you do it then. That's how it's gonna go down. Oh, that's the CVS bottle. The CVS bottle has no doctors involved. It's not going to be a scene or anything because, as indicated earlier, the most I can really do is make some snarky remarks because it's not the underling's fault that they suck. That CVS sucks. You know, it's not the guy who works at CVS's fault that CVS sucks. And probably I'm not talking to the pharmacists themselves. If I am talking to the pharmacists themselves, then I might get a little more saucy because they get paid the big bucks to have me yell at them. But, you know, I probably won't end up yelling at anybody. I'll probably just sigh. No, I'm not going to speak to the manager. No point. I'll probably just sigh and I say, you guys, I have never encountered such rampant incompetence as I encounter here. With you guys not being able to keep my drug in stock. Oh, I know. Drug shortages and yeah. Every month for years now. Yeah, I have a Nuremberg trial for CVS managers, CVS pharmacists. See, I don't even think it's the pharmacists. I think it's like the regional managers and or some law that prevents them from keeping the shit in stock and or I don't know. I mean, maybe Walgreens would be just as bad. Who knows? I mean, I used to pick up Delilah's Adderall at Walgreens, and it was better than CVS, but they occasionally had problems. She would get two different ones. She get like 10. She gets 10 milligram instant releases and 20 milligram extended releases, 30 of each. Whereas I get 60, 15 milligrams. So we get the same total amount, but she gets 2/3 of her, and hers is extended release, but she doesn't like as much, and I don't like as much either. Nobody likes extended release as much. Nobody likes the Spanish Inquisition. Boy, did we have a big dinner tonight. Let me tell you what we had in honor of the Rams game, I guess. Not only do we have this massive tri-type that my dad brought home for me to cook, and I mean, it was massive.
You did a great job cooking it.
Thanks, darling. We also had side dishes of scalloped potatoes, mac and cheese, baked beans, salad. Is there anything else?
I think that was it.
I think that's it, yeah. But it was a very full meal with the tri-tip, and after I was done, I felt like satisfying to be done with that, to be done with being hungry. Because I was pretty hungry all day, kind of. Even though you and I split that Chinese food, it didn't really fill me up that much. So, anyhow, alright, I guess that's about it for the live stream. Anything you want to add, Rachel, before we go?
That's a good question. I feel pretty sleepy.
Have you taken your night pills yet?
Yeah, I did.
Alright, cool. Alright, so let's... No tripe. Tri-tip.
Yeah,
Tri-tip. Apparently it's a California thing. That people in California like to eat tri-tip. My dad gets them all the time. It's like a big cut of meat. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, because the last tri-tip we had looked different than that one.
Well, they all got this kind of flap quality to them. Where there's somewhere in them there you can kind of open them up. I think it's the same cut of meat they make carne asada out of. But they call it another kind of, they call it another name in other places, I think. In California we call it tri-tip, but I think in some other places they call it something else. I could Google it and find out.
Sirloin.
It's the bottom sirloin. Top sirloin is the kind you get for steaks for grilling. The tri-tip is the bottom sirloin. Is tri-tip the same as brisket? The basic difference is that brisket is removed from the animal's front, while the tri-tip from the bottom sirloin of the cow's back. And they come from opposite sides of the cattle. What's another name for tri-tip? This cut of beef has been referred to by names including Newport steak, Santa Maria steak, triangle tip, and triangle steak. Is London broil the same? No. A London broil is a cut that of one of a variety of kinds. And so it looks like when it comes out of the barbecue, it looks like this. And you cut it like this. So, like mine was a little overdone. It should be a little pink in the middle like this. And then you cut it like you would like a prime rib kind of, but so there you go. When will we have the super long 5-hour streams again? As soon as I get amphetamines, probably. Which part of the steak is a New York strip from? Ruben R. I believe this kills the animal. Yeah, it. Well, they're already dead when they do that to them, I think. Yeah, so mine tonight was a little overdone because I overcompensated because last time it was a little underdone. You know how that goes with your overcompensating for your past mistake. Well, yeah, Jack, of course. Long streams mean amphetamines, obviously. I get tired of long streams after I get tired of streaming about an hour and a half to 2 hours, unless I'm on amphetamines. In which case, who knows how long I might be streaming for? Could be 5 hours. Who knows? What's up, Nacho Business? I'm gonna smoke one more cigarette, and then it's bread time for Bronzos. Okay, we're the Bronte sisters. It's bedtime for the Bronte sisters. Bread time for the Bronte sisters. After I smoke this, okay. Yeah. Chewing it up does tend to confirm that whatever it is you're eating is dead. You can also have a little faith in your stomach acid. Subscribe to CJ O'Connell's channel because he's starting to do some streams. Why don't you plan one right now, and then you'll be ready to start the stream right now when I'm done, and people will go over there maybe. Oh, Jack Torrance. As if you could provoke me to take more drugs. As if. I am perfectly capable of provoking myself to take drugs. I do not need any help. Okay? I love kitties too. I love my kitty. My kitty is so sweet this morning. Oh my God.
You got lucky.
Yeah, she was really chatty this morning. She just wanted to spend time being loving pants with me. Don't worry, Jack. You can ask me a million times. It won't have any impact on whether you get it or not. I am, if nothing else, impetuous and childish. So, yes, my kitty did bring home a strange man. And she was sitting in the chair next to him all innocent-like, but I suspect they'd probably had some ee-oo in there, you know. Even though she's fixed, she's probably
Wow.
figured out a workaround.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what you should do, CJ. But what you should really do is just do it instead of saying you should do it. But, you know. Yeah, I like what Jack says there. Yeah. When she sees trouble, you can see a little look in her eye. And that look says 3 syllables. Ooh, law, law.
They are each other's,
Correct duels.
yes.
Because they're perceiving types. They're what Sicianus calls mirage. CJ cannot help but be his own person. Everybody ends up being whoever they are. There's no emulating Eric. Eric's too Eric-y. I'm too Eric-y. I'm the most Eric-y Eric I've ever met. So, that's the problem with me being me. Okay, well, that's it. I'm gonna go take a BATH and go to bed. So if you've not tried it before, maybe you too should consider cooking a tri-tip on the barbecue. Good eats.